Welcome to Soft Talk. Today, let's talk about Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's 4-day official state visit rather, to China. Welcome to the program. The Oli mission. First things first, it's not a hunting trip beyond the national borders, nor it's a marriage procession in response to a cordial invite. Rather, it's an official delegation heading up north to discuss some serious business. What is the business? I'll talk about it. To talk some serious business. With whom? With the leaders of the world's second largest economy in terms of national GDP. What is the size of that national GDP? A whopping $18.273 trillion, the largest economy in terms of purchasing power parity. That is a whopping $37.072 trillion, and the third most powerful country in terms of available firepower with a power index of 0.0706, lagging only behind Russia with a power index of 0.0702 and the United States, the superpower, of course, with the power index of 0.0699. Let's carry on, continue with this discussion. So it's only fitting for Nepal to send under Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli a 78-member delegation. It's a jumbo delegation, or is it not? To send a 78-member strong, shall I say, delegation to make things happen, isn't it? As the saying goes, two heads are better than one, and 78 heads, as yours truly feels, are far better, as the amount of gray matter in each brain adds up to make a huge mass that can perhaps come handy during negotiations. Also, if airplane seats are available, why not make the most of them? A crucial question, $1 million question, rather, isn't it? Besides, a small delegation can easily get lost in the vastness of a country with an area of 95 lakh 72,678 square kilometers. So our illustrious government must have done quite a bit of homework to make the delegation visible in such a vast, in such a big country. And it's not every Tom, Dick, Harry, Ram, Krishna, Hari, and Radha hopping onto the all important official visit to Beijing. As per media reports, the entourage includes the who is who and who is who's who from Nepal, the Prime Minister, of course, Foreign Minister, Prime Minister's Chief Advisor, and why not? Economic and Development Advisor, members of Parliament, bring them on. Senior government officials, of course, private sector representatives, and last but not the least, spin doctors, big and small, from the government media. Without the last punch, who will get to know what exactly happened in the rarefied air up north? So, what's the agenda? That's a tough question, isn't it? Let's delve into this agenda thing a bit as it has stirred the pot. In fact, there's no need to enter into the vast world of the void to explore the main agenda. Well informed media reports have made it clear. They have made it clear that the Belt and the Road Initiative, formerly One Belt, One Road, is the prime agenda of this visit. Quite clear? Well, let's delve into this. The two ruling parties, the Nepali Congress and the CPN UML, have actually revised, you heard it right, they have revised the BRI implementation plan that China proposed in 2022 and sent it back to where it belonged. Needless to say, the ball is back. The ball is now back in the Chinese court. By the way, the Middle Kingdom of the Yor should seriously think, about what? It should seriously think about giving the task of revising its global BRI blueprint to the brilliant minds that make up the rank and file of the two largest parties represented in Nepal's federal parliament as well as in the government. Mother of surprises, mother of all surprises is that the two parties are on the same page this time around, and not only in the same government over the BRI funding modality. Though most probably aware that BRI rarely entails grants, the two largest parties of Nepal are resolute. What are they resolute about? They are resolute that Nepal should get grant funded BRI projects and nothing else. That loan funded BRI projects won't do. Well and good. Minister for Foreign Affairs Arjurana Deuba raised this agenda quite strongly with her Chinese counterpart Wang Yi during her recent visit. This visit was meant to step up preparations for Prime Minister Oli's China visit, his first foreign visit as his as the Prime Minister of Nepal for the fourth term. So China is quite aware of this worthy matter. Still, if this agenda does not figure at the summit in Beijing, what will? Scholarships for politicians and bureaucrats themselves or for their progenies? That's quite unlikely. We are underestimating our diplomacy. We are underestimating our mandarins. The debt trap, the largest party in the parliament, appears quite worried about the BRI. Rightly so. The country is not doing well in terms of economy, in terms of political instability. So Nepal has every right. Nepal's political leadership, in fact, has every obligation to seek aid and not loans. not high-interest loans. The coasts from Hambantota have been giving some of the largest parties leaders sleepless nights for quite some time, it seems. It indeed is our sovereign right to decide what is in our national interest and what is not. But can an instability plagued polity, mired knee deep in corruption, with a CPI, that is Corruption Perception Index, score of 35 and ranked 108th out of 180 countries, can such a policy defend the core interests of a country? And is this contraption called debt trap made only in China? Are other countries, multilateral donor agencies, and investors opening their purse strings in this sacred land to absolve themselves of sins committed elsewhere? Is there such a thing called free lunch, except for our politicians, bureaucrats, and other freeloaders? Of course. Is there such a thing called free lunch for the people? Even if it were even if it were there, people with even an iota of self-respect would not accept it. By the way, has the sellout of Nepal's major rivers and tributaries, the sellouts committed through treasonous deals and treaties, has this sellout not been bleeding the country dry for decades on end? What is the cost of losses resulting from such treasonous deals and treaties? Has anyone worked their need bothered to calculate these losses? And what will petroleum import pipelines do to a country? A country that supposedly has a huge hydropower potential, at least on paper. Will an increasing reliance on and consumption of the dirty fuels, whose prices are almost always on an upward swing, ever let our economy take off? The China card. Once in a while, Nepal's political leadership faces charges of playing the China card. I have written more often than not, I have spoken more often than not that Nepal has never been a card playing nation. After all, it is not the country where the Pandavs lost everything against the Kauravas in the great gamble that gave rise, that made way for the great war of Mahabharat. In fact, a Nepali song, Nakhelnu Juara Tasa, warns against gambles and card games, pointing at the plight of the ancient king Nal and the Pandavas, who are said to have lost everything in a game or two and gone into exile. Nepal cannot afford to play such games where everything is at stake. The country should play her cards quite carefully at all times, not to mention in this time of great geopolitical and geostrategic flux marked by the rise of two giant neighbors, the Russia-Ukraine war, increasing hostilities in the Mid East, and signs of a gradual decline of the sole superpower. Certain mighty countries well versed in the art of the impossible. Certain mighty countries involved in the art of the impossible, that is diplomacy, see in these ancient countries attempts to safeguard her interests by diversifying her relations in a fast changing global landscape, a card game or two or one too many in progress against them. That's their fault, not ours. That's their problem, not ours. As for occasional card games, those small time games played for recreation, the sets for such games certainly come from China and they are made in China. The use of such cards in such games does not mean that Nepal is playing the China card. With this remark, I wrap up this edition of Soft Talk. I request you to subscribe to this channel. Why? We are trying to promote citizen journalism, a strain of journalism that is far from corporate greed and corporate greed. We request you to promote citizen journalism. We request you to subscribe to this channel, comment on our presentation, and press that like button. Your support will go a long way toward making this channel viable. It will go a long way toward making it your true voice. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.